I have not been to this, but I would
It's,
like to
it's
do
something
that.
we should
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
And I know like the people do like the
The
cruises and
cruises.
stuff, but the interior is just
Yes,
fun too. you
Yeah,
know,
that's
like-
a friend.
Becky? How about, and now can you hear us?
Can somebody indicate if you can hear us?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I did a whole introduction, but now I'll do it again.
All right.
Okay, good
I-
evening. Today is Tuesday, February 27th, and this is a hybrid meeting of the Shutesbury Selectboard. The Select Board, 3 members of the Select Board are here in person at Town Hall with the Town Administrator, Becky Torres, and we have one townsperson here, Susie Mosier, who is in person at the Town Hall. I'm gonna open the meeting by reviewing the agenda, and then we will go ahead and launch into the meeting. So the first item on the agenda is public comment. Then we have minutes from February 13th. 5:45, we're going to review a proposal that we have from GZA, Geo-Environmental, regarding the dam at Lake Wyola. At 6 o'clock, we have a response to an open meeting law violation letter that the Select Board received. 6:10, we have personnel action forms for 2 police officers, Curtis McGuire and Devin Pelletier, and 1 highway department employee, Dave Grenier. Then we have to review Veterans Affairs Service contract. I think the contract was already signed, right? Should we
Not
just
by
read-
us.
Not by us.
No, it's, what, 29 towns?
Oh,
And the
okay, oh,
select board
that's
each has to
something
sign.
else, yeah.
It's a 3-year.
So did it?
Oh, my gosh. We're gonna have to switch over to you.
Give me 2
Do you think it's
seconds.
your
They,
I, yeah.
Becky, you're
you're
gone.
yes, no, we're not gone. We're actually on my computer. Give us 2 minutes to switch over. Hold on.
Okay,
Can you still hear us?
I can hear you, but I can't see you in person.
Okay, I just wanted to
I
make
can
sure.
turn on my camera, but you're only gonna see me for a few moments. I need my little, hang on. You need this one.
Yeah, we're moving a lot of wires here, folks.
On that
Nope.
side.
Wasn't here.
Here, Melissa.
I could do that one when she was here.
This one. Then I need the HDMI.
Hold on, everyone, we're getting there.
And then you'll have to go into your settings.
It remembers the settings from the last. Hang on 1 second. I gotta put you guys up on the screen so everybody can see you.
All right.
Okay,
Right.
sorry, we had a brief interruption there. I don't know when folks joined us, but I'm just in the process of reviewing the,
I'm gonna ask Geneva. Geneva, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
okay.
All right.
So we were in the process, when we lost power of, just reviewing the agenda. So I was up to 6:45, where we were gonna discuss the, Vote that was rescinded by the Regional School Committee regarding the track, and then authorization for $1.5 million for a track that's defined differently than the earlier debt authorization. 650, we're gonna have discussion and review of proposed hunting on private property bylaw. 7 o'clock, review the cemetery groundskeeper job description. 7:05, review the warrant for the presidential preference primaries, and then last but not least, the town administrator updates on PFAS and gasoline. We've just had somebody join us.
Yes, that's good.
That's me. Oh. If they will, they move the, planning the work up in the agenda. But I'm gonna have to put it in.
Okay,
He's on, it's 7.
okay. Well, let's just take a look. I think that won't be a problem, Grace. So the next item is public comment, and if you have a public comment, I ask that use the raised hand feature and try to limit your comments to no more than 2 to 3 minutes. Any public comments this evening? Okay, I will take that as no public comment. And so the next item on the agenda is reviewing the minutes from February 13th, 2024. Not at that meeting, so I will turn to Melissa and Eric. Rick, any comments, edit?
I have a very, very small amendment on number 2 on the first page. It says Western Mass Energy. I think it's Western Mass. There's an N missing, that's all.
Okay.
That's all I
Melissa,
know.
did you have anything? Okay, so with that changing it to Western Mass, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of February 13th, 2024?
So move.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No,
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye,
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
and I'm gonna just pass on the voting abstain. Yep. Okay, so Grace is here and has asked us to, if we could move up the reviewing the warrant for the presidential preference primaries, which I know you forwarded to us, Grace. It's anything you wanna say?
No, not really. It's a list of the offices that are on the ballot.
Okay, and it
And
has to
there
be
was
signed
one-
off.
There was one small change made. There was one small change made, our constable Christine, can they hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, our constable Christine was unavailable to post the warrant tonight. So I updated the warrant to say, as a final little paragraph at the end there, instead of saying, I, the constable, do hereby certify that I posted these on these bulletin boards. It's saying, I, the town clerk, do certify that I posted these on these bulletin.
Okay, and so this needs 3 members of the select board.
Yes.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve the warrant for the presidential preference primaries to be held on the 5th of March?
Next Tuesday. So moved.
Second,
Okay, any discussion?
no,
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Would you like us to sign this
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Made 3 copies and I'll go try and.
Yes, you're right.
There you go.
Oh, here's the proof. Nah, that's okay. If you're gonna sign it, you should enjoy it.
That's right.
Oh, it's a better pen. Yeah.
We have this thing now.
You're gonna write, use a good pen.
That's good. He said he has a good
I
point.
bring a good pen.
All right. And that's over there we go. Speakers, microphone.
Okay,
Is it just me or did everyone freeze and stop talking?
It's not just.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, they're frozen.
Being good.
All right, all right.
Okay, we're back in. Becky, you have to turn your phone off or on? Off. Because we're using.
Everyone is muted.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, working on it, okay.
Okay, can everybody hear, anyone hear us now? Wave your hand, jump.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And thanks, Tom.
Thank you. We had a, not sure exactly what just happened, but we're not gonna play around with it.
Okay,
Sorry, Karina.
I know.
starting and stopping. So I just introduced the 5:45 agenda item, which is reviewing GZA's proposal for work at Lake Coyle, at the dam, at Lake Coyle.
The main purpose of the grant is to get permitting to replace the 5-year permitting for drawing down the dam. That was done in 2018. We have an extended permit on that to January of 2025. We are reviewing all issues having to do with the dam. We were given this proposal, we had a conversation with GZA, and we, is Mark Rivers and myself, had a meeting with GZA in January, and they reviewed where we wanted to focus on, because they had given us a proposal way back in July.
Right, and Becky, just to be clear, we had put out a request for proposals. And GZA was the only firm that responded. And in fact, we know that GZA is very well qualified to do this.
Yes, and they're the go-to firm pretty much in Western Mass for dams. And Morris Root gave them an okay recommendation too.
Okay.
And they know what they're doing. But so in July, we had a request for proposal, which had been submitted. We had a serious conversation in January, being closer to being able to do the work in January. And then at the end of the meeting, they said they would redo the proposal given the refocusing and the timing that's left. So instead of being in September, we're starting basically in March. So they've limited the scope on the what they proposed to do in FY24, and then they've moved a lot of things into FY25. But the main thing you have to understand about the contract, there's a lot of different pieces. There's a lot of on and off ramps. They think there's potential to get an exemption or an extension in a couple of areas that would be helpful to the town. So they would like to build that into this approach where they could, you know, if they tried to get an exemption for the Mesa work and the work about endangered species. If they are unable to get that, that exemption, they'll need to do that body of work. The same is, so if they have to do that body of work, it entails 2 very significant environmental reports that they have in the later thing defined at about $20,000 each. So they want to proceed with conversation, talking with our Concom, finding out where they stand, and then reaching out to the natural heritage folks to have the conversation of how detailed they want the work to get. And what do they think is necessary? Their experience is that it's taking about a year to do a full Mesa review for a project involving a dam at this time. So that is why they are gonna see if it's, if it's really required in this situation. And it's based on whatever the creature is that is being protected by the Natural Heritage Endangered Species List. We don't know what that is. We never learned in going back and forth last year. They are putting in a request. It takes 30 days. The MIPA have to respond, and they have to tell them what kind of living being or living creature it is. Is it a plant? Is it something that could be badly damaged in the work we're trying to do or not, is the main point. So they're gonna feel all those kind of issues out. And then depending which way we go, if we get the exemption, that block of cost will drop out. If we don't get an exemption, that block of cost will come in. The other issue is, even though they're giving us a full, like the notice of intent, I think, is quoted about $15,000. In a normal quote, you would, if it's cost and materials, they're going to break that into what they actually use or what actually is consumed in time. So it'll be different than if we were just having a straight per quote. And that's because they're going time and materials because of their sensitivity to all the different off-ramps contained in the proposal. Do you all have any specific questions?
Yeah, I think sort of my broader, after like going through this, this is kind of the worst case scenario,
Yes.
right? So, but
Hopefully.
right, and it totals what, like $104,600,
Yes.
right? Over this fiscal year and next fiscal year.
Yes.
We have approved at
Seven.
town meeting $70,000.
Yeah.
So is it anticipated then that if they can, I mean, I think they said in their proposal that if they can move this along more quickly, some of those tasks might be done in this fiscal year.
Yes.
Thereby, higher than their proposed amount. And then any balance, we would be looking to town meeting for the additional, if we need to spend
Yes.
all that money.
If we need to spend.
Yeah,
all
so we
the
have
money.
said, let's see, let's
Yeah.
say we spend 70.
Yeah, and
the
then
end
we
of it.
need another, if we still
Right.
need 25, 35.
Right, then we'd have an article on town meeting. The additional
Yes,
money.
but it probably won't be this annual town. Because this annual town meeting is 2 months away.
Right.
And,
We won't know.
and we won't know at that
Okay.
point in time, so it would probably require a special town meeting.
So would we not want to ask for it just to have it in place, so we wouldn't have to have a special town meeting? And then not, if we didn't use it, it would just go back and.
That's another way to go.
Okay, well, maybe we can talk about that. And they were just charging for time and materials, so even though these dollar amounts seemingly high, the billing will come in for time and materials.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah.
Okay,
And some might be high and some might be low. I mean, this is not.
right, this is a kind of an estimate. I know, I think my concern was like signing something that said this is what the dollar amounts are when
When they're not
they're not
certain.
when they're not certain. So that was my hesitation. And then Becky said, no, go back where it says time and materials. And that they're not gonna do, I mean, this is a reputable firm. They're not gonna do stuff that they don't have to do. And I assume you'll be monitoring.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I'll be in conversation and yeah, as we go, especially with all these off ramps, we'll be redesigning this. And she said, she was very upfront that this is a more convoluted, more complicated proposal than they usually make, but they're jumping in kind of midstream of, we had the last phase one report done by a different engineer, and they have a learning curve and they don't know our conservation commission yet, so they'll be getting to know them, and they'll be calling. So it'll be a little bumpy at first, but I think their goals are very clear. Mark was, he's very understanding of the flow of, and the process. It's like, we don't know exactly what's gonna happen. And until we know more, so I'll bring updates on this as we go.
So I guess one question I have is, what used to happen? I mean, this is all sort of increased. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, it's an increased expense and fraud, whatever.
Okay,
What
so,
we used to do?
well, the last permit was put together by Mark Rivers,
What's that?
Penny Jakes, and Mark Stinson from DEP, and Morris Root. Morris Root also helped on that.
Right,
And so they put that together 5 years ago in a collaborative effort. The cost for the town came in a wildlife study that was required that Emily Stockman was hired to do. They also are talking about doing a wildlife study within the notice of intent when they do that piece. So it was all, grit and bones, volunteers putting together the best thing they could do.
and when you added it up, it's how much money? Roughly zero, okay,
Emily Stockman, I think, was $2,000 or $3,000,
right.
or maybe $4,000. But other than that, the anticipation, and that's why this is a big shift.
Right, that's
And
my point, yeah.
yeah, I mean, our last phase one report was under $4,000 for Morris Root. And what is theirs? I think their phase one is like 12.
Something like that.
Yeah. Phase one,
11. Actually, they didn't put it,
it's the.
phase one is, actually, they're doing great. It's $4,600.
So it's not bad. It's in line.
So so where they can, they are keeping costs in line, but I think part of Morris's ability, yeah, I think the more they're involved with us, so if we're going in with a lot of, giving them a lot of research, that getting up to speed, they've spent the last couple months reading material, so they'll be in a good shape once we get the big pieces done, hopefully to maintain things going forward at a back down to a reduced cost of hopefully 4,600 every 2 years. Once we get all these issues settled, it's just, we have open issues, and from what they're describing, DEP is, the new person at DEP is a little less friendly to Office of Dam Safety initiatives and the way they go about things. So there's more hurdles at this time period for us to jump through that we've been alerted to. So we are going to do our best to do things by the letter of the regulations and get the work, get us to a good point with this investment, and hopefully it'll be under 70,000 in total. And we'll do our best to keep costs down going forward. One thing that's in here, and I don't want to notice, is a automatic monitoring system for the lake. that does not have a price included. They're working on a system for another client that has requested it. And so they'll give us
Yeah,
that
that's the
information. That really does signal a very dramatic change in how we operate. I mean, what is the job of a dam keeper when you take that away? So that whole issue would have
I
to be.
not take it away completely, it may not have to be read and daily. or-
So we
I mean,
can
there's
monitor the
someone's gotta
monitor.
read it.
It can email it to you.
Are you sure? Cause
Yes.
it's down at the lake where there's no cell signal.
There is now a cell signal.
Well, we will see if that actually happens.
Right,
There is a signal. Kristen called me from the lake on her cell.
If it works on an AT&T signal.
Do you have any questions about the contract?
and just also be clear, this is in addition to some repairs needed to the dam, right? This is just permitting.
Yes.
This is just a permit. Right?
It's just
Yes.
a permit.
Yeah.
But we did they have, what is it, $17,000 in there or 13 for repairs. That really, it really is a placeholder. The work, we don't know yet how much design work will need to be done for the repairs. And if, it might be very straightforward repairs where they don't have to do engineering to say, move the weir from here 20 feet to the east, so hopefully some of these costs will be unnecessary. But some will be.
Okay, anything else? So we are voting this evening to execute this agreement with GZA Environmental.
I'll make the
So-
motion, I'll make a motion that we execute the contract with GZA Environmental for the Lake Wayla drawdown permitting dam inspection and repair.
Second, excuse me.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Keith O'Neill, aye.
Stalker,
Carol, aye. Okay, thanks, Becky. The next item on the agenda is review of the response to an open meeting law complaint that was received by the Board of Select Board. And I think we have in our packet a response, and the nature of the complaint was that on an agenda for a select board meeting, I think back in January, January 31st, to be specific, that there were acronyms that were used in the agenda, and a complaint that those, whatever they are, agencies or need to be spelled out rather than using the acronym. And so a letter has been sent acknowledging that.
It hasn't been sent yet.
Oh,
You're
it hasn't,
reading-
okay.
I'm having you
Oh,
review
okay.
it, before sending it tomorrow.
Okay,
We're
All right.
within the 14 days, just barely.
okay. And so we are sending a copy of the complaint and then the select board's response, and we have to sign off on this letter going to Amy Maple, who's the Assistant Attorney General at the Office of the Attorney General. So you did forward us a letter of the response to Amanda Alex, who made the complaint, which acknowledged that that we won't be using acronyms, even though
Yes.
they're, they're typical in kind of our discussion, but for the general public, some people wouldn't know. So do I hear a motion to?
I do have one edit for
Oh, you
the
do?
letter. My
Okay.
last name only has one L.
One L,
Sorry.
and you are co-chair too. Right?
It just has one L, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So with those two minor edits, do I hear a motion to approve this letter to Amy Nabel?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Stalker, aye.
Carol, aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is we have, personnel action forms for 3 town employees, 2 police department employees, Curtis McGuire and Devin Pelletier, and 1 highway department, employee David Bernier. Becky, do you want to just review for us?
Okay, so, what has happened, it's kind of a celebrative moment for Devin and for Curtis. Devin has completed he went through the academy, the Bridge Academy program over the last year and a half. And what happens after you finish all your classwork and that is all approved, then you have to work up to a specific number of hours as an officer before you can get fully accredited, which Devin did. I believe he completed his total number of hours in October. So now he by contract is receiving a step increase. And as well, since the situation is that our other officer, Curtis McGuire, has went through the Straight Academy, not the Bridge, but he went through the Straight Academy, and the 2 officers are very close in experience and training. They came to Kristen and so they asked that both be moved, Devin asked that both be moved up because the other officer also is still paying back what he owes from his prior employer. And Shutesbury is receiving the benefits of his going through the training program. So the PAF is to move both of them to $23.03 an hour from their prior amounts.
Questions?
No,
Nope. Okay, and then the third one is Dave Grenier. Dave Grenier is now the second at the highway department. Dave came to us with a lot of experience already, having been working in Templeton and for a number of years prior to coming here. And he and Steve have been doing a good, excellent job holding the department together, one man short. We are hopefully close to being a 3-man highway department, but Steve has been very concerned over the last months of holding on to Dave, and especially being the skill level he is, a number of highway superintendent jobs have opened up, specifically New Salem and Wendell. Our old highway superintendent, Tim Hunting, is currently this highway superintendent in New Salem for, I think, another 6 months or so. But there was a request that was approved by the personnel board that Dave move up 2 steps in our system to be paid $25, I believe $25.49 from where he was, in an effort to hold on to him, and also an appreciation for the work and the level of work he's been doing. He started at our lowest level and has worked his way up. So that's the request.
And how much of an increase is that, Becky?
It's a $1.42, I believe. I'm sorry, $1.46.
And were all of these reviewed by the personnel committee?
Yes, the personnel board went through all of them. The personnel board is working just beginning the work on a new alignment study. They wanted to base it on the new Franklin County study that just came in about a week ago. They have noted, this position in particular has been noted as one that has been really climbing. The average that two gentlemen came from FERCog, Franklin Regional Council of Governments, to explain their work. And they said the average, is set is $27 an hour is becoming the new starting salary in the region. And they noted that ours was pretty low. Leverett's has been keeping up, and we're a few dollars behind Leverett at this point. So that it's a position that the need has been noted. And I'm sure that's true with other positions, but as we work through the police union, I think there might be changes there as well.
Questions?
No,
I guess, my only other question is, and I assume this is, I'm just asking this to make sure, so there's sufficient money in the
Oh,
budget.
in both departments have sufficient funding for the, so we're not asking for additional dollar amounts.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to, approve the personal action forms for, the three employees, Curtis McGuire, Devin Pelletier, and Dave Bernier? So moved.
second,
Any further discussion?
no,
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Thank you, Sonia. Aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is, reviewing the Veterans Affairs Services contract, and, it's a little confusing, but, this looks like something that we participate in with a bunch of other Franklin County communities, and they are looking for us to vote through the respective select boards to continue on as members of the district for the next 2 years. That's what it said in the letter.
I think it's a 3-year contract.
Well, that's
does
interesting. The
say
cover
3
letter says 2 years.
Okay, I'm sorry, it is two.
This is-
Yeah.
Oh, there, okay.
It is two. My
It is.
mistake.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just read something for sentence. but-
Yeah,
I did reach out to our veterans representative,
Uh-huh.
which is Albert Springer. And he said that they are doing a great job, that this new organization is much better and more active and responsive than they had been. So he's very, very happy. He did say we don't really have any other options, so it's a good thing we're happy.
Mhm. Okay.
And
To clarify what you had said, is that it said requested a 3-year approval from the Commonwealth in January 2022.
Right,
And
right.
that goes-
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's what's confusing. You're right, you're right.
It was a little confusing when you were reading it.
Right, I hear.
What we had written. Okay, so this is, something that gets incorporated into the budget every year, our contribution.
Yeah. yeah, it's an assessment
So there-
that we receive every year.
So there's no actual assessment here, it's just saying we're gonna continue to participate.
Yeah, we'll continue in this relationship.
Okay. All right, great, so do I hear a motion to, execute the agreement with the Upper Pioneer Valley Veterans Services District?
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Thank you, Sonia. Aye.
Stalker, aye.
Farrell, aye. Okay, I think we are ahead of ourselves here. So we don't have the planning board here till 6:30, right? And it is now.
That's what they
6:15.
requested.
That's fine.
Okay, so why don't we move, if everybody's in agreement, can we move a couple of items up first? maybe starting with the reviewing the fire department grant or contract execution for the defibrillator.
Oh, I guess I didn't have it written. So Lenny brought in, I think that's the 1,740.
Yeah, this is the one where I saw
17,
that, yeah, 1747.
Oh, that's right, you had me signed it.
Yeah, so I
Oh, no, you
signed it
signed
already.
it, yeah. I signed a couple last week, I'll explain.
So I asked Rita to sign that ahead of the meeting. This one had not yet been approved.
Okay.
The other two were approved, but this one hadn't.
Oh,
And
I see, okay.
And so that's why we're bringing it forward now, but it was time sensitive. It's a grant for, a defibrillator, awarded to the fire chief, the fire department.
Okay. So this is this, it's a state standard.
It's
contract.
just one,
Yes.
just one.
It's going to be later. Yeah. Okay, so, questions?
No,
Accepting money?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll accept money.
Yeah, right.
I'll
So
look
that
at
isn't hard to do. Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve the Commonwealth of Massachusetts contract form for the, defibrillator for the town of Shutesbury Fire Department?
So
Second,
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
make peace on your line.
Stocker, aye.
Carol, aye. Okay. Next, if you guys are in agreement, I was gonna move up the discussion of the regional school committee's vote to rescind. Eric, you okay with that?
Yeah, fine, great.
Okay. Becky, do you wanna run through?
So when the regional school committee takes the vote on capital, a report goes out to all the member towns. And then they announce that it has occurred, and they basically give an option for the towns to reject the proposal. This is sometimes done, it takes, I think, takes 2 towns to kill it. 2 towns to go against it.
So
So if-
3 towns have to vote.
yes,
Yeah.
3 towns out of 4 have to vote for it to pass, or don't come forward with it. So the decision the select board is making now is whether they have reason to question it and would be interested in rejecting the proposal at town meeting. This proposal is basically the fields, the artificial turf fields, coming back with a new definition, a new language of what is being requested. So they're not, it's not locked in that they would only produce a PFAS field. They are PFAS enriched.
Right,
But they could also, do different kinds of drainage, they could, plant real grass, they could, and with drainage included, they could do different things in the new proposal. And I think there were so many objections that even our finance committee objected to, the first proposal. There might be more support for the second option that doesn't have the artificial turf. But it's up to the select board to decide whether they think it should go forward. And what they think the people in town want to do.
so you're saying that the new proposal won't have PFAS or it might not? Yeah,
Well, it's let's just say artificial.
All right, the artificial turf.
There's options not to go with artificial turf.
Right.
The first
in the
vote,
new language.
the first vote was
For artificial.
artificial.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
okay.
And how does that end up getting decided? Do we know?
It'll still be by the school committee. It'll be their decision.
Whether to go with the turf field or.
Yeah. But I think they've already gone to a lot of effort to make other options possible. I think the writing on the wall for the artificial turf was not good.
And what is, did we vote at town meeting for the original?
No,
debt?
no, we won't. The only option the town has is to vote against it at this. So once, you know, the school committee will have their approvals if we decide not to choose to vote against. It's a default approval. And then they can go forward.
Right, okay.
Have other towns already voted on this or no? we-
Nobody has voted against it.
Right,
Last time, nobody voted against it either. 3 years ago.
And the debt authorization then, I mean, the debt comes automatically into the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I feel better about them kind of opening up the, you know, it's not just being the artificial turf and looking at other options. And I think there's been a lot of pressure, and it's good that the school committee has responded to public opinion. So, do we need to vote in the affirmative, or we just don't need to vote? If we don't need to vote.
You don't need to vote, but I always would rather take a negative, vote to support it, or
Okay,
it, just so something's on the record.
okay. Okay, all right, do I hear a motion?
so the motion would, oh, go ahead. What would the motion be?
The motion would be to, confirm the Amherst Regional School Committee's 1/23/24 vote to authorize $1.5 million for a track defined differently than the earlier debt authorization.
Okay, so moved. That sounds good. So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second,
Okay. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Think Peace O'Neill, aye?
Stalker, aye.
Carol, aye.
That's so early.
Oh my gosh, really, really early. So, I see Mateo is here. And I see Kristen is here. If there's any discussion, Mateo, do you wanna, entertain your, question now? Is that,
Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah, thank you.
okay, all right, you have the floor.
Great. So I would like to ask that the select board begin a process of consulting with the town council, the chief of police, and the town clerk to develop an appropriate and enforceable bylaw requiring that anyone who wants to trap, fish, or hunt on private property in the town other than their own property or family property first obtain written permission from the owner or lawful tenant of that land. And I'd like to ask that this be prepared in time for a vote at either the 2025 annual town meeting or an earlier special town meeting should one be scheduled. So Massachusetts General Laws 131, Section 36 states that property owners must actively opt out of allowing hunting on our land by papering the borders with, as the statute puts it, conspicuous signage. To quote the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, barring a town regulation in Massachusetts, you don't need permission to hunt on private land that is not posted against trespass. As the division advises hunters, asking for permission is good etiquette, to use their term, but it is not required. I'm sure many hunters comply with this suggested etiquette, but not once in the 17 years that our family has lived in the woods of Western Massachusetts have we had a hunter ask for permission to hunt on our property. And yet every fall, hunters carrying rifles, shotguns, and compound bows wander our trails, sometimes within 200 meters of our home, where our dog romps in the yard and our kids explore in the woods. And I know that other town residents, including other families with children, have had the same frustrating experience. The bylaw I'm proposing would take up the division's reference to a town regulation. Instead of requiring that property owners actively opt out of allowing hunting on their land by posting signs, property owners would have to actively opt in by granting written permission to hunters. 150 Massachusetts cities and towns have adopted bylaws and ordinances introducing regulations on hunting that go beyond the broad opt-out requirements of the statute. Of these 150, 78 communities have adopted a bylaw like the one I'm proposing, requiring that hunters obtain prior written permission from property owners before hunting on their property. These measures are not only aimed at reducing hunting injuries, though that's certainly important. Just as crucial, however, these measures protect our rights to enjoy our property without fear for our safety, the safety of our loved ones, or the safety of our pets or our livestock. They allow us the opportunity to conserve and protect wildlife and wildlife habitats on our land in a manner we consider most appropriate. They reduce the amount of littering on private property, both of trash and of abandoned animal carcasses and parts. Finally, such measures provide legal protections because without them, a hunter who is injured while trespassing, whether or not those injuries are caused by the act of hunting, or a person who is injured by a hunter who is trespassing, can actually hold the property owner liable. This bylaw would not take away anyone's right to hunt on their property or their family's property or on public property where it's permitted. And this is important because hunting is a valued family tradition for many. This bylaw would not restrict anyone's right to bear arms. This bylaw would simply be about protecting and respecting private property rights and the rights of residents, both landowners and tenants, to feel and be safe on our own property. It's about giving us a better measure of control over who can enter our property while carrying firearms. It's about ensuring that those of us who live in Shutesbury, because we love to be in the woods, can enjoy being out in the woods without having to worry for our lives or the lives of our families. I've provided a model bylaw based on Ashburnham's, and the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife even provides a model permission form that towns taking this opt-in approach can adopt. Anything similar, though, I think would be suitable. I recommended Ashburnham's because it's thorough, involves both the town clerk and the police, offers a carve-out for family property, and includes a clear and necessary explanation that the bylaw has no bearing on law enforcement activities or self-defense. But if Ashburnham's model isn't what the Select Board, Town Council, Chief of Police, and Town Clerk prefer, we again have 77 other examples we could look to. Clearly, this is an approach that has worked for other Massachusetts towns. It can work for Shutesbury as well. Thank you.
So, we're not going to use tonight to discuss the merits of this bylaw. I think in your introduction, you indicated that it would make sense, and I agree that we have some, key people, the police chief, town clerk, maybe one member of the select board, to kind of sit down and maybe there are some other interested people. Maybe we can do this without a formal study committee. If we have to have a study committee, we'll have a study committee. But to kind of look at this, because I think there are lots of pieces to it, and I know from a conversation I had with Kristen today that she has a lot of information. So again, we're not gonna discuss this evening, but how would you like to proceed? What do you think? Have an ad hoc group of people who.
Yeah, I think we definitely need some data, and Matthew brought up some things that I had written down, some data to back up the, data. We need to look at some data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's, Kristen, is something that you have access to? Is there?
So once I found this out, I started collecting some information in regards to other towns that have utilized certain bylaws, what their language is. I also have data I'm working on data, I should say, in regards to responses to complaints, not only to the police department, but to the EPOs and also Fish and Wildlife. I'd like to make sure we bring that forward. And then information in regards, well, actually, Mateo did a fabulous job of citing the law that's written in there. So yeah, I have some items I could give to you to review. And I just need a little bit more time to get the statistics of responses to complaints or any of the issues in the area. And there are some.
Okay. So maybe what we can do is, once you're kind of ready, Kristen, that we could, figure out who from the select board, will meet, and Grace, and then if there's anybody else that we think, is appropriate.
And
That
I
makes
did speak, yes, and I did speak to the EPOs and Fish and Wildlife. They would also like to assist you if you have any questions.
Okay, great, great. That might be a resource we want to tap into. Great. Okay, that worked for you, Mateo?
Yeah, I think that's great. I'm just glad that the process is starting, and obviously, I think that law enforcement has to be involved with this from the beginning. I'm assuming that a town, but maybe Kristen would know this, a town bylaw can't sort of compel or call on a state agency, law enforcement, right? Like this would be a local law enforcement matter, ultimately.
With the select board's permission, can I answer that?
Yeah, and then we're gonna wrap it.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Mateo, you're absolutely reading my mind right now. So, in speaking with the EPOs today and the different governing agencies in regards to this, they don't typically follow the bylaws. That would come down to enforcement by the town itself.
Great, thank you, Kristen. Thanks, Mateo. And stay tuned. So Kristen, when you're ready, let us know. Okay, so it is 6:30. We have a joint session with the planning board, and I see lots of planning board members here. Did the planning board want to call itself to order?
Yes, I'm looking out there. I see Robert. Is Robert still here? Yeah, there's
Yes.
Robert. Okay, so we have 4, so I will call the planning board to order. And just note that the meeting is being recorded, right? And so yeah, we just have the one agenda item, which is considering the planning board recommended by vote unanimous in December to recommend Tom Seifert to the select board as an associate member to the planning board.
And this is an elected position, is that correct? No, this is.
No, so this is an appointed associate member position.
So
The associate member position is going through some changes on account of recent home rule petition that was passed and by the state legislature, signed by the governor. And then, there'll be language that we're going to put in to hopefully be adopted at town meeting. But this is doesn't, that's still an appointed position. So that part's not changing.
So it's an appointed position by the select.
Yeah, the process is for the planning board to take applications and talk to everyone. And then have a vote to whether or not to recommend to the select board. And then, the appointment's actually made in joint session between the planning board and the select board. I would like to also note that Steve Bressler has joined and is now in the meeting.
Okay, great. So, Tom, is there anything you want to say this evening before we move ahead and vote?
Pardon me. Thank you. I've already attended some meetings with the planning board and enjoyed the participation so far. This would give me, I think, a nice, easy way into the town government and structure, so to say, a board as an associate member. with a lot of watching and whatnot involved in the learning process. So I would just be eager, please, to be able to participate somehow. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thanks. So do I hear a motion to appoint Tom Seifert as an associate member of the planning board? So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we vote first and then you guys want to vote?
Do we want to have any further discussion, or?
Well, why don't we vote and then you guys can make your motion, right? To appoint Tom.
I think it is,
I'm just trying to think of the mechanics
I
here.
think the last time the select board made the motion and
Everybody voted. Okay, so I'll make the motion and so they don't need to make a separate motion.
Right. That's how we did it.
Okay, all right, that's the way we're gonna do it. A motion has been made to appoint Tom Seifert and seconded. And Michael,
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I would just say, when Tom presented to us his interest, and I think his comments so far, it's been detail oriented, thoughtful. Definitely has read our materials. All of those things make him, I think, a good associate member and standout. I mean, not everyone wants to read our zoning bylaw and word for word things. So right there, that's, I think, a good sign. But there was a reason where you're unanimous.
okay, so the select board's gonna start voting and then I'll let the planning board, maybe I'll just call on the planning board members, that's probably easier. Okay. So Melissa? Aye. Carol, aye. Weston?
Weston, aye.
Murphy? Murphy?
yeah,
He's thinking about.
I know,
You think about the process.
I'm gonna say aye.
Okay, DeCiara,
Aye.
Raymond,
Aye.
Wrestler. Steve, you're muted.
Nay.
Okay, is there anybody else?
You got Raymond?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
That's it.
all right, it passes. So,
That concludes our business. If there's nothing else, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn for the planning board.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, Raymond,
Aye.
Bressler,
Aye.
DeCiara,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. All right, the planning board is adjourned. Thank you very much.
thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and welcome.
Congratulations, Tom.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to review the cemetery groundskeeper job description.
This job description was reviewed by the personnel board and approved. And is coming forward to you from the cemetery commission. And they are hopeful to find potentially two new groundskeepers. So anyone who's out there and interested in being a groundskeeper, please talk to Walter Tibbetts.
And the updates, Becky, were in the job description.
It's about half of it because it originally only had one paragraph. Would you like me to bring?
No, it's okay. I mean, I
It
read
had-
through it and
Yeah.
Yep.
Originally, it had been so minimal, it didn't even talk about tools or
Oh.
repair of pets. So it's still only 3/4 of a page, but it's twice as detailed. As
yeah, I mean,
this
it looked,
page. Yeah, it's very reasonable. It's just talking about the work that needs to get done.
questions?
No. Short,
Okay,
sweet, neat.
so do I hear a motion to approve the revised cemetery groundskeeper job description.
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Make peace O'Neill, aye.
Stocker, aye.
Carol, aye.
Jimmy Wolverine.
Okay, so we are at the end of our agenda for town administrator updates.
Okay, so today, as far as the gasoline contamination updates go, today, yesterday, an air canister was installed at, next door to the fire station.
Say an
Air canister and it was there for 24 hours and it was removed at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So they're doing an air study as one more piece of the gasoline investigation. They're confirming the limits of exposure. And they also did a water test in the sump pump. And we hope to get those results back in the next week or so and then complete our reporting on the gasoline issue to DEP. Because of, we had some problems and unexpected results in an earlier round, we had some contamination and results, the reports had to get redone. So 2 weeks ago, last week we applied for an extension on the gasoline DEP required reporting. Jeffrey was concerned the week before, had reached out to them, and then indeed we did need to get additional results. They were fine with the extension and the reasons for it, and we are moving. PFAS, we had an issue, I think I brought up before, and the new testing has gotten done for that. And at this point has not shown us any new need for installation of filters, which is a good thing.
How many do we have now with our installed, roughly?
About 40.
Yeah.
So those two things happened. We had a couple other issues in town hall with the lock not working to the room that we are now meeting in, which was a little problematic for the town clerk, but she figured out that we have a half door and found someone to crawl through it and unlock the door in time for elections. We had an issue a few weeks ago. I came in to town hall on a Saturday and found the flag was strewn between 3 or 4 tree branches, and the rope had gotten all tangled up. If anybody has noticed, the flag has been down since that time. I called our vexillologist, Albert Springer, and Al came and was able to get it all down. Well, most of it had fallen down. The rope broke. He's waiting till warm weather to get some help from the fire department, and he'll reassemble the rope and get the flag back up. So if anybody's noticed that the flag is missing, that is the reason. The other news is from the building committee. They are working on the gutters at the school. We had some problems with some of the gutters not holding up to a lot of ice and sleet. And we've gone back to the architect, and building committee is working with the architect and the contractor to make the corrections to the gutters. So it's helpful to be able to go back and look at the designs and find where the problem is and what was out of spec. And then the last thing is we've been having a big problem with drainage at the town buildings, the courtyard at the school. During a freak storm 2 different times this year has filled up with water, about 6 inches of water. I've been trying to get someone to come in and clear the drains. At this point, I've had 2 failures, on attempts to do that. The highway department is gonna purchase a large snake and, so that we will have it on hand because these issues keep coming up. We've had the problem out back. And we had the dog drain into the bathroom, that one, town meeting where Kristen spent quite a long time in the bathroom. So I think this solution will be a good one, and, the new highway superintendent is very willing to assist, as he is also a member of the building.
So I had a couple of things that I wanted to just check in about. One is we have an opening on the Conservation Commission, and I know that names have been submitted. So what is the status with the Conservation Commission?
They have not yet accepted surveys. They were still working on reviewing their questions.
And
So
they were gonna submit the questions to us, I thought. I thought that was.
Right, but they haven't finished their
I
questions
see.
yet
So once they finish their questions, then they're gonna submit it to the select board?
to look at.
Okay,
And I think in the end, it is a select board appointment. And they understand that. And I think they would like to make recommendations, but they understand the select board appointment.
so we're waiting on them now.
And the other thing we don't want to forget, and we could probably move ahead at the next meeting, is to pass their regulations that contain their fees. Their fees need to be voted by the select board before they can charge them fees.
Okay, so that would go on the agenda for the next
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on my list of questions.
Okay. And then I just had a question, I think that had been raised by Michael Becerra about the fleet program and National Grid.
I have to get them a report to get to the next step.
Okay. And I think that was it for me. Do you have questions?
No, well, one question I had is there's a letter from Attorney David Bartley.
Yes, that's a right of first refusal request. The assessors have put together a research packet. I wanted to get, Leslie put it together and questions, has a number of questions for David Burgess in her letter, so I started to send it to you and I thought best to get David's answers to those questions, then I'll forward it, on to you. It's a 121-day process potentially, to get a response back from the other, boards, the Concom and Planning Board. Planning Board has to review the property, and so the question is whether that piece of property would be of value to the town. It's a 49-acre parcel, but on the river border down on January Hills. And so it's a sizable lot. In the letter, they say they are intending to sell, but they don't disclose to whom or for what purpose, which I believe those are some of Leslie's questions that before the town can determine, those questions need to be answered. So another letter or a phone call has to go out to Mr. Bartley, and we need to, I believe David would want to make that phone call, but if he doesn't, I will make that phone call so we get the additional information the select board needs and the planning board needs.
So we know that the planning board has received it.
Every single department received a certified mailing of that.
Right, and somehow I missed it in my inbox, but I'll go back. Okay, what else? Your contract. We need to. And the police contract too, do you both,
The union has to negotiate, and we have Melissa's on the negotiating committee, along with Ted Ross and Bob Groves. We are looking at the first, negotiation to be on the 14th of March.
Email back and forth.
And can we go ahead and schedule yours? So do we want to do that within a select board meeting, or do you want to do it separately? You have the toughest schedule.
Well, if I have a little bit of a heads up, I think
Right.
separately might be a good idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. What's the timing of Becky for you? We meet again when? We meet again
On
March,
the 20, we meet on the
March 13th.
12th.
Well, okay. Do you want to try to do it between now and then?
Next week.
Next week.
Fifth is the election day, so that's probably out with the building having so many people in it.
And I'm hoping to work remotely next week and go to Philly.
Okay.
But that
so
leaves,
at the beginning of so we meet on the 12th. So next week, the week of the 4th,
yeah, we could meet on Friday.
this week.
No, because
No, yeah, it doesn't work for me either. How about the 11th? Want to do it then? That's Monday. Okay. That work for you?
Yeah.
The 11th? Okay,
I know, right?
great. 5:30? Eric, that work? for
Yeah, I
you?
mean, Monday never works for me, but it'll have to work.
Can you make it 5 o'clock?
I can make it 5 because I can work
It's
from
5
home.
o'clock?
No, yeah.
Yeah, that helps. right?
That would help. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I can
Great,
work from
thanks.
home that day.
okay.
Like if you want to even make it a little earlier, you could even do that. Because I can just simply work at home. and nothing
4:30.
4:30 is fine with me.
Okay.
That's
Negotiating?
guaranteed that
Okay,
I'll be home and home for dinner, baby.
all right, so Monday, March 11th at 4:30. Okay, anything else? No,
not at the moment.
all right.
We'll put the Concom fees in the next meeting.
Yes,
Cool, great, good.
And we do want to start, we want to reach out to the Zero Heels.
Yes. Okay,
okay. All right, good. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
second,
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Make you sign it.
Dr. I,
Errol, aye. Thank you, everybody.
thank you all.
Thanks, Susie. Yep.
Thank you, Susie. It's nice to have you here.
Yeah.
I'm ending the meeting. We're done. No